Hi everyone. For the evening meditation today, what I'm going to do is I'm going to focus on the ear because I've lost my hearing. I suffer with my ears because of the abuse I went through in the contact center, in the call center. And I remember when we were studying science at school, the ear is so fascinating because it's so delicate. And when that sound travels through your ear, it's very sensitive to the words, the music, to whatever is being said. And it affects us. It affects our bodies. It affects our minds. It even will affect your gut health, whatever words are spoken over you. So in our housekeeping for our body, in looking after our bodies, the ear is very important because it's the gateway between the world around us and our inner world. When sounds travel through the air, they enter into the eardrum, and then the tympanic membrane receives the sound waves and transports the signals via the hearing bones into the labyrinth of the inner ear to the cochlea, the real hearing center. The sound waves are changed here into electromagnetic frequencies that stimulate the brain. The brain waves cause either relaxation or excitement and can be traced by an EEG. So they can actually measure it. And so when we lose that hearing, or when we develop that pain in the ear, unfortunately, there is nothing that can alleviate it. You can take Tylenol, you can take anti-inflammatories, but once it starts, there's nothing that you can do. The same with blood pressure. So with me, I looked up what are the causes of high blood pressure, and I'm not susceptible to any of them, except for the stress I've been put under in this country with unemployment and financial hardship. So I'm not one who overeats. I'm not one who buys a lot of starchy foods all the time. I'm not somebody who drinks alcohol all the time or does drugs all the time, because those are the factors that lead to high blood pressure. So for me, it's mainly stress, financial pressure, and always being unemployed and out of work, and living with that constant financial instability and lack of employment has taken a toll on my health as well as my ears. So I suffer with my liver, and with the liver you have to be very careful, because when you do a detox, like when you do fasting or anything like that, you have to be careful, because if you don't do it the right way and you haven't learned how to fast correctly, it damages the liver and then it damages the lining of your stomach, and you can land up in a worse condition than if you hadn't gone through a detox process. So with me, I study things before I do them. I don't just go and do them, because my aim is to get well and stay well. Unfortunately, with this high blood pressure, it's not going to go away unless by some miracle God helps me to lose all this weight, which I've been trying to do for, it's almost a year now, and I'm not losing anything. Even doing strength training, walking, swimming, cutting out carbs, doing all the right things, I'm still not losing anything. So that's why I'm saying I know it's the unemployment situation, because I am a calm person, I'm a peaceful person, and so logically, I should be losing the weight by now, but I'm not. So just to go back to focusing on this, on the ear and the brain waves, we have 4 different types of rhythms. We have beta, alpha, theta, and delta. The beta waves are associated with normal waking consciousness. Alpha and theta are increasingly relaxed states, and delta waves indicate deep sleep. So the brain waves influence every cell in our bodies and thus can heal or damage the physical body. Relaxation waves lower blood pressure, slow down the heartbeat, release stress from the immune system, and prepare to fight viral and bacterial infection and kill cancer cells. So that's why when you're under extreme pressure, when you are sick, when people go through things like cancer or job losses, it helps when you have family around you, because just being with your family, having those family members around you, relieves that stress. So that's why, like, even when my brother came, he was relieved to see me. He only had 1 day with me, but him and the children were relieved. They were happy when they were with me. And I told him, like, next time you come, get your own place, get an apartment or something that you can rent. You get these Airbnbs where you can buy your own food and cook there. And then you can spend more days with me, because the children were very upset that they only got 1 day with me. And it was good for me as well, because I have been working in a high pressure environment for the last 6 years on minimum wage. And prior to that, my income was $9,000 1 year. And I had periods where I had no income at all. And on top of that, I had to pay back COVID money. I had to pay back mistakes CRA made on my taxes. So I've been under extreme pressure for a very, very long time. I'm surprised I've done as well as I have, considering what I've had to deal with in Canada on my own. So this is important to remember for anybody that's going through states of transition, unemployment, sickness. It's important to remember these things. And the brain waves influence every cell in our bodies, and thus can heal or damage the physical body. When we are going through something like, if you get like lots of upset stomachs or you get something like that, it's probably also influenced to what you're listening to. If you listen to good music, you'll find that the gastrointestinal system is sensitive to that. That's why when you go to a high-class restaurant, or if you go to a restaurant in England, you'll find that they play Baroque music. They'll play dinner at music time, and they won't play like rock and roll, or they won't play something that's going to lead to your system being stimulated. They play music that is very calming and very peaceful. Sound works not only on the body, but also even more powerfully on the soul, where it can activate its divine energy. Spiritually, sound transports the voice of God to the inner voice of the soul by the power of the Trinity. God the Creator creates His Word, and we know that from the Bible, where God speaks and things are created. That's in the Genesis chapter. The power of God's Spirit moves into the brain and causes a reaction, a mood change, an awakening, a call that can instantaneously change our lives and heal. This is the reason that words can heal or regulate functions. Everybody who prays or heals with words of love or compassion takes part in this divine creative process. So Hildegard, this work I'm reading is from St. Hildegard. And Hildegard explains that especially the liver and body metabolism are influenced by what we hear. The noise level is sometimes so unbearable that the inner ear shuts down in order to restore and regenerate. Many people experience this at loud concerts or during stressful periods as a hearing insult that can cause deafness or chronic tinnitus. So that's what I have now, because for months I've been fine, and then now this tinnitus is flaring up again. So I just have to be careful. Like if I have the TV on during the day listening to the tennis, then I switch it off in the evening for at least maybe an hour or two, and then I'll do my rosary or I'll watch the Mass if I haven't watched it already. And when I'm going to sleep, when I've said my prayers and everything, I listen to Gregorian chants. So I bring that sacred music into my bedroom, and that helps me. Sometimes I do Psalm 91, other times I do different chants, but I listen to that music, and that music also helps me to relax. Words have the power either to heal or to kill. The diagnosis, you have cancer, you are a hopeless case, and there's nothing that can help you, is like murder. The interferon level of the immune system can plunge to zero, causing the cancer to accelerate. And that's true of any other diseases. It's true of our work too. If we go to work and people are constantly telling us that your scores are not good, you're hopeless, this is not going to work, then it becomes like a repetitive message, and eventually you do fail, because that suggestion is always there that, oh, this is not working, you are not my family, I don't know what's wrong with you, why can't you people be more compassionate? It's an ongoing word that's being fed into your soul. So it leads to poisoning of the body and causes depression and cynicism. And petulance is pictured as a stray dog. So when we listen to, like, you'll find that people who are doing a lot of music where they're playing like techno, rave, even like when I went to the Sting concert, it was nice, I enjoyed it, but it's very different to experience that kind of a concert indoors with the strobe lights and everything compared to when you're out at a stadium and it's an open air stadium, or it's like the Rogers Center. It's a very different experience because the sound is more enclosed and you feel it more intensely. And also I had somebody sitting next to me who was double the size of me. So it was a bit uncomfortable, but I couldn't ask them, like, can you move me to the front? Because the concert was sold out. So when they sell the seats, they don't take into consideration that if they have somebody who has a larger body than normal, they might need to place them like in a seat on the side, or they might need to make an accommodation. They don't consider the person sitting next to them. So it was uncomfortable for him. The poor man had to sit like this, and I also had to sit like this, right? So you can't really enjoy the concert in that way. And also, like with the strobe lights, you feel it differently. And the person that wrote this book is just saying in here that I have treated several young people with hearing trauma after a techno night. It is no wonder that the number of deaf and neurotic people is rising. And that's what I was telling my brother, like when you sit with those headphones the whole day and you've got that ping going in your ear for, you have to answer the chat, there's 3 chats going, and when you're in a startup, there's no automated responses. So you have to copy and paste your response that you made up, or you have to type the response. Meanwhile, the other 2 chats are going. So you can imagine how much stress there was on me. Plus, when you take those calls, you're dealing with people who are angry, people who are upset, people who are irritated, not with you, with the company, but they take it out on you. So that's also stress on your heart. It's stress on your immune system. It's stress on your ears. Or you get an email. You see that this email has been going back and forth for 3 months. So when you reply to the email, you have to go back and read the whole email, and you've only got 12 minutes to answer it, or 9 minutes to answer it. And sometimes I would resolve that on the first interaction when it's been going back and forth for 3 months. So then the customers used to start crying. And they used to say, you helped me. I've been calling this company for 3 months or 5 months and nobody's helped me. And on top of that, teleperformance recruiters have the audacity to tell me that my scores were not good and I didn't do a good job. So this is what I'm talking about when I'm saying that this is how it starts affecting your health and your body. And then, so that's an example of words of petulance, like why not be riotous and enjoy entertainment as long as we have something to laugh about. The human soul likes a blast if you bring it into vibration with the right harmonies. I don't want to live like a bum and walk around like death. Let's be merry as long as we have something to laugh about. So that's like a voice of petulance. And then healing words of discipline, they come out of the chaos, leading us yearning for new life, full of stillness and joy. Only harmony and discipline create an atmosphere of peace of mind. And the response to that would be something like this. I carry the golden belt of wholeness, and I inspire dignity, excellence, and honesty. I am invited to the wedding celebration of my King, and appear with great joy. I hurry to the wedding celebration, beautifully clothed in justice. So those are just examples that I'm giving you of how the things that were being put into me were hurting my ears, hurting my body. And even I can tell myself, you know what, I know this is not my fault. I know it's them, it's their issue, but it still affects your body. It affects your mind. And so this is why the body starts breaking down eventually. All amusement is fleeting and its end is followed by the blues. What counts is the stability of discipline. And then this examples that she gives in this book is that petulance is related to the pathology of the nervous system in the region of the cervical vertebrae, especially C2, which controls the sense of hearing. The nerves here are also responsible for the facial muscles and the blood circulation of the head and arms. And Saint Hildegard sees this vision of petulance and chaos as symbols like fire and worms causing inflammation and pain, which is exactly what it is. You've seen me, you've seen how I look. Some days you see my chin looks 3 times bigger than it is, and my face. And other days, like today, it doesn't look that bad. So it causes inflammation and it causes pain in the body. And some of the diseases you can get from this are rheumatic fever, muscle pain, neuritis, the rheumatic pain of the muscles, and nerves of the back and feet, or attacks of the sciatic nerve. So people living in stress and chaos felt as if they were suffering in the burning fire. They could barely breathe anymore because of the sticky air. They were burning on their feet and all over their body due to the chaotic and extravagant lives. So this is just examples that she's given. So how do we counter this? We counter this with the meditation on the music. I gave examples of what I use, the Gregorian chants. The Christmas Oratio is another nice one. I wouldn't recommend that before you're going to sleep, but maybe like in the morning, that's a nice one to listen to, because it's about the compassion of God, and it's that joyful music. And music can help us to release stress, regulating the breath and heart rhythm and energizing the immune system. We can use it to change our moods. We can use it to open a window to the harmony in the universe. So the sun, they found out that the frequency of the sun is 136 megahertz. And the scientists have measured it, and so if you listen to that sound, that is the sound like of the morning sun breaking. It's the sound of countries like in Asia, in India. It's the rhythm of the earth that comes. And that's why in the morning they say is the good time to eat, to have your coffee, to wake up your body, to give thanks for the new day, because all of those things help your body to be rejuvenated. And that's why at night we use soft lights, we use relaxing music, we use different things to calm our body down. The entire universe is related to music and sound. That's why Hildegard calls her music visionary work Symphony of the Harmony, of celestial revelation. For Hildegard, music is much more than we understand today. Music is the most perfect symmetry and balance of the macro and microcosmos, heaven and earth, God and humanity. Music is the way we can immediately and powerfully change the way we feel and think, bringing into alignment the inner and outer world. The human soul itself is symphonically tuned. So those are just the things that I wanted to share for today, that music can be therapeutic and that music changes the nature of body and soul. It's healing. In a few seconds, you can release rage, you can release pain, you can increase the energy in your body. Music can open our senses and thinking. It can be cleansing. Music creates oneness in the inner and outer world and makes everything holy, whole, and healthy. In summary, music regenerates, purifies, sanctifies, and harmonizes everything instantaneously, both body and soul. Omnia continent. Music sings heavenly and earthly songs simultaneously, bringing together God and humanity in harmony. So that's why a lot of people are going back to these old ways, that like food will be our remedy. That remedy should be natural, not chemical or genetically manipulated drugs. Ora et labora, that you should meditate and rest as much as you work. Keep exercise and rest in good balance. And then also cleansing our blood and our intestine, so drinking lots of water. There's some essential oils that will help to get rid of worms and anything that's in your body that could be causing sluggishness. For women, up until we reach menopause, we ovulate, and that's also a way of getting rid of toxins in the body. If you're not pregnant, then when you ovulate, you release that blood. And purifying the soul, and that's what it comes down to. There are probably, I think I'm in the majority. There are probably other people who do call center work their whole life and it doesn't affect them. But then they also didn't grow up in poverty. They didn't grow up without their father. They didn't grow up without having a safety net and a safe haven in their father or their dad. They didn't grow up in extreme poverty. They didn't grow up having to fight to go to university, and everyone telling them, you'll never make it, you'll never graduate, you only want to do it because your friends are doing it. So I've overcome a lot with God's grace, and I've been through a lot, but there's more that I want to achieve. So that's why I'm focusing on my health. I'm focusing on getting my health as good as I can and praying for the right job, not sitting on the phones and working in that extreme pressure in the call center. And they already told me, like, you should look for something else because we don't want people who come here and stay here. You've already been here like 6 years. You should look outside. They normally want people who just stay 1 or 2 years and then move on. So that's my goal. That's my end game. And I also have 2 other books of St. Hildegard's. I have this Healing Plants, and this one gives you all the different plants and what they're good for. And I have Physica. So Physica is her book it's the complete English translation of her classic work on health and healing. And it just shows you the different effect that foods can have on your body, what you're eating. Some of the foods are very English. You don't find them in Canada, but they're still good to know about. So those are the things I wanted to share about what I'm doing. And this is a process I go through every time I get let go, because it's the same thing over and over and over. And it will naturally affect your health, and especially if there's underlying conditions like I have. So that's why I try to make sure I drink lots of water, not a lot of alcohol or caffeinated drinks, or like I don't drink Coca-Cola every day. I don't drink fizzy drinks every day. I don't drink alcohol every day, because all of those things would exacerbate and aggravate my gut system. And so those are the things I try to do. And then for the scriptures for today, the scriptures are just a reminder for me that God always chooses the one that's the most disrespected, the one that's, we see ourselves as the weakest. We see ourselves as the one that's most unworthy. God brings that peace into our lives. And for the rich, they always worried about their money. If they have a house, then they want a house with a swimming pool. If they have that house with a swimming pool, then they'll want a house with a gym. It's never enough for them. And that's why God says that it would be easier for a camel to enter through that gate, the eye of the needle, which it's a very narrow gate, than for a rich person to go into God's kingdom, because they're always worried about their money. Even if they know that, oh, I could die tonight and all this money, who will it be left to? They're still worried about their money. So we poor people, we don't have that luxury about worrying about money. We're worrying about living and how we're going to put bread on the table. So that's what I wanted to share for the evening prayers. If you want the scriptures for today, I'll put a link so that you can get it from Universalis. It's Psalm 84 and the Gospel of Matthew 19:23 to 30. And then the first reading is from Judges 6:11 to 24. So Jesus was rich, but he made himself poor for our sakes. And that's why I think music helps me so much. Even playing my piano, listening to Elvis's music, it's his voice, it's the way he sang, it's the way he brought the instruments together that I like. I don't listen to that many artists, but I listen to him a lot. So that's what I'm focusing on right now. And I hope it helps you. If it helps you, I hope you'll pass my name on so that I can get some speaking engagements and I can continue building up my business, because obviously I want to get an income coming in. I'm not one who wants to sit at home and do nothing and not be able to work for myself.